to move that this House do now adjourn.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. Lee Picture.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm grateful for the opportunity to make the case for the economic contribution of Doncaster Sheffield Airport in this House this evening. Its reopening is the #1 priority for the people of Doncaster East and the Isle of Axholme, as well as residents right the way across our region. Our airport is simply not just a matter of jobs, though it will bring jobs. It's not just about the wider economy, though it will massively contribute to the economy. Our airport is our local pride. It is about our local pride. When DSA closed 2 years ago, our community was robbed of a key part of its history and identity. Seeing planes fly once again in the skies above Doncaster is my goal, and the reason I address this House tonight. I will use my time this evening to speak about the business case for reopening Doncaster Sheffield Airport, the clear economic benefits and the importance of the government's commitment now to finally get this over the line. I will talk firstly about the inspiring local campaign that has kept DSA high on the agenda since the airport closed its doors 818 long days ago, and has provided the momentum to get us to where we are today, on the brink of making the dream of reopening a reality. Now, this is not the first time I've raised Doncaster Sheffield Airport in this place. No. Since being elected, I have asked many questions on this subject, and I'm sure honourable members right the way across the House will be delighted to hear that this is not going to be the last time either. The fact is that it's important to so many constituents, and nothing demonstrates that better than the Save DSA campaign. I'm proud to champion the campaign to save our airport in Parliament, and I hope my efforts in this place serve to highlight the wider efforts of local campaigners at home. I will give way.
Madam Deputy Speaker, can I commend the Honourable Gentleman for Doncaster East and the Isle of Axholme for bringing this forward? I spoke to him beforehand, so he knows what I'm going to say in relation to. So does the Honourable Member not agree that government funding for local industry means that the rising tide lifts all ships? This support for the airport will have a great add-on benefit to the local economy. And does the Honourable Member not further agree that the support of all our airports in the reduction of air passenger duty for flights within the UK will even more and greatly increase the economic benefits to airports and constituency around them, as well as the tourism benefits that come from that as well? Thank you.
I thank him for his intervention, and I most certainly agree that the economic benefits of a regional airport open is huge, not just for local jobs, the local economy, but also for the tourist trade, which is massively important right now in particular. When communities suffer the loss of major employers, like ours did, it's easy to slip into doom and gloom. Mark Chadwick, who I'm pleased to say is in this place this evening, and the rest of the DSA campaign team refused to sink into negativity. They knew that there was no good business case to close that airport. They knew that there was no good reason to abandon our community, to rip out a part of our heritage, to end those jobs. The Save DSA campaign and others have been tireless since the airport's closure, fighting to keep Doncaster Sheffield Airport from becoming yet another example of regional decline. I massively commend their work and thank them for their efforts, as well as the work of other groups like Friends of DSA, which is a group of ex-employees and volunteers who I had the fortune to meet recently. Their dedication shows that this was never just a job for them, and I know they will be following this progress very closely. Now, those members unfamiliar with our airport may ask, why is this so important? When Peel made that decision to close the airport in November 22, it was not just a blow to passengers, it was the end of hundreds of well-paid, good jobs in Doncaster and the surrounding area.
Will my honourable friend give way?
I most certainly will.
Can I thank my honourable member for giving way? And can I congratulate him on securing this so important debate? I hear time and time again from my constituents in Bassetlaw that they regret that they no longer have an easy access to an airport on their doorstep. Not only was it important for passengers, Doncaster Airport was embedded into the business community in Bassetlaw, and its closure saw jobs lost and local businesses losing regular income streams. Does he agree with me that reopening the airport will create new opportunities for residents in my constituency, including the world-leading STEP project, which will deliver international investment and high-skilled jobs to the surrounding area?
And thank you for that intervention. Most certainly, I've already talked with the honourable member on the other side around the importance of a regional airport, but you're quite right, globally and internationally, this will make all the difference, particularly to Bassetlaw, where she lives. Now, despite the efforts and the best efforts of people like Doncaster Mayor Ros Jones, the South Yorkshire Mayor Oliver Coppard and others, my honourable friend, the member of Doncaster North, among them, the airport was closed. To say this was a bitter blow for our community is an understatement. The closure of our airport brought home the reality of the previous government's Levelling Up programme. It felt back then like there was no levelling up available for the people of Doncaster. It wasn't just jobs we lost local pride and a connection to our past. Doncaster Sheffield Airport, apart from anything else, is a vital link to our community's aviation heritage. Before it was the finest international airport in the country, DSA was RAF Finningley, with an aviation history dating back to 1915. During the First World War, Madam Deputy Speaker, it was planes from Finningley, flown by incredibly brave men who intercepted German Zeppelins en route to Sheffield. During the Second World War, Finley served as a bomber base, once again at the forefront of protecting British lives and defending our democracy. In 1991, when Flight Lieutenant Julie Ann Gibson's plane landed at Finningley, she trailblazed into the history books, as for the first time after 73 years, the Air Force had a first female pilot. The airport's rich heritage remains evident at the site today, thanks to the incredible work of the Vulcan to the Skies Trust, which is committed to preserving and protecting two of the most iconic aircraft in British history, the Avro Falcon and the English Electra Canberra. When I visited them last year, I was inspired by their work, not only to protect these incredible feats of British engineering, but to support and guide Britain's next generation of engineers through their work with children and young people in my constituency. A link to our past, a promise for our future. Madam Deputy Speaker, I hope you can tell from my words how intensely proud we are of our airport. I hope you can hear why this is so important to my constituents. Now allow me to move on to the business case for reopening DSA. I've spent much of my time since becoming an MP talking to local business leaders. I've lost count of the number of times I've been asked the same question: when is this airport reopening? Local businesses are as keen as anyone to see our airport reopen. They understand how strong the business case is. With renewed conversation nationally about airport capacity and the vital importance of bringing back growth, we need to look no further than a regional airport, practically ready to go. A huge amount of work has been done in the background, led by Doncaster Mayor Ros Jones and her team, to make sure all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and when it comes to it, they have shown the importance of the viability of DSA. Ros knows better than anyone how vital it is to prove without doubt that reopening Doncaster Sheffield Airport is not just good for local pride, but it's a brilliant business decision as well. An independent financial viability assessment has been clear. Doncaster Sheffield Airport is absolutely a viable business prospect. The full business case projects more than 5,000 direct and 6,500 indirect jobs from a reopened DSA by 2050. 5 billion gross value added to the economy, 2 billion in gross welfare benefits, and the headline that really grabs my attention: a projected benefit cost ratio of 9:1. What that means is that for every single pound in, we get £9 back in return. It's no wonder the business community is keen to see the airport back in action. And it's no wonder that Dan Fell, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, has said this: in addition to creating thousands of jobs, the airport will also act as a magnet for investment, help businesses trade internationally, further develop the region's capability as a nationally significant hub for freight and logistics, and support inbound tourism.
Will my honourable friend give way?
I most certainly will.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm incredibly grateful to my honourable friend for giving way. He's making a powerful case to underscore his claim to be called Mr. Doncaster Airport. As the chair of the APPG for Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire, I support any move that leads to greater growth across our entire region. And I do wonder if my honourable friend would agree with me that we need to seize opportunities like this, but not just seize them, accelerate the delivery of them so that everyone in our region can feel the benefits of economic growth.
I thank you for his intervention and for the work that you do on the APPG in promoting everything that is great and needed in Yorkshire as well. And I couldn't agree more in terms of the economic importance of that airport for us all.
Brilliant.
Madam Deputy Speaker, this is not just an airport, this is not just Doncaster. A reopened DSA is also a reopened South Yorkshire, opening the door to inward investment from across the globe. Where once there were fighter planes, now there will be freight planes. Doncaster sits at the heart of our great country. It is already one of our major transport hubs, and with DSA open again, South Yorkshire will become home to new industry, cutting-edge renewable energy and technological innovation.
Will my honourable friend give way?
I most certainly will.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. And as well as the exciting prospect of planes taking off from Doncaster once again, does my honourable friend agree with me that this is also a significant opportunity to turn both Doncaster and South Yorkshire into a hub for sustainable aviation fuel, creating those high-skill, high-wage jobs for our local economy in that particular industry in our area and in line with the government's growth agenda to ensure that economic prosperity is felt all over the country, including in areas like Doncaster and South Yorkshire.
Thank you to my honourable friend and neighbour for that intervention. I wholeheartedly agree. The importance of looking at sustainable aviation fuels and the opportunities that brings in terms of new kinds of jobs that brings aspiration and a future for our children and young adults in the area. I also believe that based on the fact that people love to fly, they will continue to always fly. We need that to be able to bring the creativity back to our shores and learn from others. So for me, massively important that we continue to promote technologies like sustainable aviation fuels too. If we're looking for growth, if we're looking for re-industrialisation, if we're looking to decentralise our economy away from London, where better to look than an airport that sits ready and waiting to serve? The promise of apprenticeships and high-paid, good jobs for our young people is another reason our airport must reopen, and one of my major priorities as an MP in Doncaster and Isle of Axholme. Like so many towns and cities in the north, there has been many of its brightest young people. We have seen them just leave for prospects elsewhere. The promise of regional economic growth is a promise to our young people. It's a promise that says, yes, you can chase that brilliant, bright future, and you can chase it right here at home on your doorstep. Recently, I was lucky enough to meet the UK's youngest pilot trainer and the world's youngest flight examiner called Cathan Dudella. We spoke about Doncaster Sheffield Airport, and he told me how excited he was that one day he might get to land on that historic runway. I went away from that conversation absolutely inspired by him and determined to see Doncaster's young people follow in his great footsteps. I will continue to fight for the apprenticeships and training opportunities that must come alongside a reopened Doncaster Sheffield Airport. Madam Deputy Speaker, so much has been achieved in the last few months. A £20 million investment has been approved, combining funds from Doncaster City Council and the South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority, which will go towards supporting the crucial early stage works required to mobilise and reopen the airport. An operator, Munich Airlines International, has been announced. And before Christmas, I was proud, with many of my honourable friends, to witness the first flight back since the closure, courtesy of 2XL, who remained on the site all of this time and have never lost faith. Now, don't get me wrong, things are looking great. In fact, they're looking good and great, but challenges do still remain. Important practical steps to make Doncaster Sheffield Airport operational still need to be taken. There are hurdles still to jump. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, none of the remaining challenges are impossible. All that is required now is the political will to seize this opportunity and get us over the line. Right now, the stars are aligned. The finances committed, the operator is secured, the Mayor, the Combined Authority and the regional MPs are all on the same page. We cannot allow this opportunity to slip through our fingers. This is a moment to show the world that Doncaster and South Yorkshire are once again open for business. So I ask the government... Most certainly, Fred.
I'm very grateful my honourable friend's making a characteristically thumb-thumping speech about this airport. My constituency, and in particular Maltby, which have many people who worked at the airport and used the airport, and what my honourable friend just spoke about opportunities to remain at home and still get on at life, really strikes with me when I'm speaking to young people in Maltby. Will he agree with me that the airport is not just about flights on the ground, but offering young people future to remain at home and a bright future to stay at Maltby?
Thank you for his intervention, and most certainly our young people have aspirations, but we need to provide them with their jobs, and there need to be opportunities for all. What a reopened airport does is provide those very great opportunities for lots of different jobs, both in terms of flights and to be potential pilots in the future, but also some superb jobs on the runway and on the groundworks as well. So I ask the government to make its commitment to a reopened Doncaster Sheffield Airport clear. Can the Minister confirm what concrete steps the government will take to support the economic benefits of a reopened DSA? And will my right honourable friend commit tonight to supporting the full reopening of our airspace and avoid any further delays? We've seen the results across our great nation time and time again when vital regional infrastructure is not nurtured with the political will needed to sustain it. The desire for something different is a big part of the reason at the last election that we returned so many Labour MPs. The voters had had enough of regional decline. They had enough of being told that this was the way it had to be. They wanted hope. This new government promised to give them that hope, and it must now keep its promise. Madam Deputy Speaker, my constituency office sits just across the road from the terminal building of Doncaster Sheffield Airport. When I head into work, I look across the road and I see a building beginning to wake up after a fretful sleep. As Mark Chadwick has told me, this transformative initiative isn't just about securing a prosperous future for ourselves, but also paves the way for our children and our children's children. The reopening of our airport stands as a beacon of hope, offering unparalleled prospects for the community now and for generations to come. I am ready. All of us in Doncaster East and the Isle of Axholme are ready. South Yorkshire are ready, the region's ready, and we want to see those planes above Doncaster once again.
Minister Mike Kane.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Shakespeare said some people are born great, some achieve greatness, and others have greatness thrust upon them. I think it's all three in the case of the honourable member. I have to say, as a Lancastrian, I'm feeling rather intimidated by the lineup behind me, but I'll come more to that in just a few minutes. Thank God I've got the member for Strangford on my side. Maybe not my side of the house. Let me congratulate my the honourable member for Doncaster East and the Isle of Axholme on securing this important debate and the economic contribution for Doncaster Sheffield Airport. Can I congratulate him also on being appointed Labour's business champion for utilities? What a great CV the honourable member has, from working his way up in the water industry to delivering logistics and infrastructure. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to aviation. And can I praise him? He may be Mr. Doncaster, but his colleague there is Mrs. Doncaster as well. I fear the division lobbies some evenings, Madam Deputy Speaker, being rugby tackled day in, day out as the aviation minister about getting this airport reopened. But they care about the future of the airport, they care about their constituents and the wider South Yorkshire region. Now, I've listened very carefully to the considered comments from the member and from all members across the House, and I'll try and address most of them. But first, I wanted to say a few words about Doncaster Sheffield Airport. I know there was deep disappointment in South Yorkshire and beyond when the previous owners decided to close the airport at the end of 2022. This marked the end of a 17-year operation as a commercial airport, though it always has had a long, illustrious history at RAF and Finningley, and I think you mentioned Jean Lennox Bird as well, the first female Air Force pilot in the UK, and we shouldn't not let that go unnoticed today in this House as we approach International Women's Day. I know it was well regarded by the people and airlines that used it. It was frequently rated by Which magazine as being the best airport in the UK, with excellent customer service, passenger experience, and passenger numbers were continuing to grow prior to the pandemic, with more than 1.4 million passengers in 2019. And I know from my many discussions with the members from Doncaster and around, and quite a few of them, again, as I remind myself, are sat round me tonight, that its closure was deeply, deeply felt by the local community. Indeed, I understand that the Save Doncaster Sheffield Airport petition has had more than 100,000 signatures. That's impressive. So I'm pleased to hear of the progress made in its reopening and the benefits this could bring, for which I will come to shortly. But first I wanted to set out the importance of aviation to growth and prosperity for the nation. Madam Deputy Speaker, you knew I grew up under an aviation runway in my home constituency of Wythenshawe and Sale East. Going to Manchester Airport as a child and seeing those BA 111s, the Tridents, the Concorde, even seeing the Space Shuttle doing a load pass in the mid-80s on the back of a jumbo jet was inspirational for me. And I know that aviation is inspirational for so many people as a career for the future. Now, growth is the number one priority, as we keep saying, for this government, and the Chancellor was clear in her recent speech about the importance of the aviation sector in enabling this economic growth. The speech invited proposals for a third runway at Heathrow and also announced a new partnership between Prologis and East Midlands Airport to build a new advanced manufacturing park, unlocking £1 billion of investment and jobs. And that's a clear demonstration in how aviation can contribute significantly to the economy through being a key enabler of international trade, investment and connectivity. But aviation is also a major employer in its own right. I see that in my own constituency. In 2022, the air transport and aerospace sectors alone directly provided around 240,000 jobs across the UK, providing opportunities in every part of this country. While overall, in 2023, the air transport and aerospace sectors directly contributed over 20 billion to UK GDP. That's why aviation is a key component of the government's transport strategy, enabling economic growth, connectivity and investing in sustainability by connecting people, places and business. And regional airports like Doncaster Sheffield can have an important role to play. They serve our local communities, people are proud of them, and they serve business by supporting thousands of jobs in the regions and acting as a gateway to international opportunities, whether that's a family holiday or supporting major investment decisions. They also provide important connectivity, helping to connect communities across the UK and the wider world. I've been interested in hearing about the South Yorkshire Airport City Vision, which has the reopened airport at its heart. It is proposed that a reopened Doncaster Sheffield Airport can help rise economic and social well-being in Doncaster, delivering employment and facilitating wider development. This can help unlock growth for South Yorkshire. The Council's business case indicates the airport's reopening and why the development has the potential, as the Honourable Member said, to support over 5,000 direct jobs, boost the economy by £5 billion and also provide wider welfare benefits of £2 billion by 2050. So I welcome the efforts of the Council and the mayors of Doncaster and South Yorkshire to secure the future of the airport and the economic opportunities for the region. Significant progress has already been made with Doncaster Council's agreement to lease the airport. The return of aviation for activities in December last year was an important milestone, as 2XL, as was mentioned, landed the first aircraft there after 3 years. And can I add, as Aviation Minister, my thanks to them and congratulations for sticking with this airport. And another important milestone was reached earlier this month, as the Honourable Member said, as Munich Airport International were appointed by Doncaster City Council to help progress the airport's reopening. There will be many more milestones and many more challenges, but as the Chancellor set out in her recent speech, this government will work with Doncaster City Council and the Mayor of South Yorkshire to support their efforts to reopen Doncaster Sheffield Airport as a thriving regional airport. As well as the airport, this government is committed to supporting all modes of travel in the region to support the local economy. In November last year, South Yorkshire was allocated £17 million worth of bus improvement plans, funding to support bus services, and just last week the South Yorkshire Mayor was informed that he would be receiving over £5 million in next financial year to invest in active travel. This is in addition to almost £9 million for South Yorkshire, and this department announced in January that this department announced for low-emission vehicles as part of the levy funding and funding for zero-emission buses, proving the government's commitment to decarbonisation. South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority received £8.4 million funding from the Zebra 1 programme for 27 electric buses and charging infrastructure. Furthermore, the government is progressing planning and design work to support future delivery of our plans for Northern Rail connectivity and will set out details in due course. This will inform work being undertaken, the development of Rotherham Mainline Station, and I'm also pleased to be supporting South Yorkshire's local transport priorities with £570 million investment through the City Region Sustainable Transport Settlement Programme. This is a 5-year deal, £5.7 billion government investment to improve transport networks of 8 city regions across the UK. As part of our commitment to local transport, we've announced in the autumn budget that we will uplift funds and funding nationally in this area in 2025-26 by £200 million, helping to improve the local transport in our largest city regions and drive growth and productivity across the country. Why do I mention this? Because it's a rich tapestry, transport, and if you have a airport at the hub of that, that's important, because we know that the destinations that airports reach are dependent on the public transport penetration time within an hour. So improving public transport and active travel in this area will help this airport reach the markets it wants to reach in the future. Now, the member for Doncaster East and Isle of Axholme also spoke about airspace at Doncaster Sheffield Airport. Airspace modernisation is one of our manifesto commitments, and the government is committed to its delivery. It remains a key aviation priority for the department, and it aims to deliver quicker, quieter, cleaner journeys to benefit those who use and are affected by UK airspace. We've seen great progress in airspace modernisation in the north, with airports now preparing for their public consultations. I know officials and the CAA will be working tirelessly to make sure that we reopen the airspace as best in the interests of Doncaster Sheffield Airport. Now, I shall conclude by congratulating my honourable friend for securing this debate. It's an opportunity for honourable members to highlight the importance of Doncaster Sheffield Airport to their constituents and regions. My officials and I look forward to continuing engagement with both South Yorkshire Combined Authority and Doncaster City Council to support their efforts in reopening this airport.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Order, order.